If you look at a map of the United States, the borders appear fixed. States, counties, and cities all seem bound by the U.S. Constitution. But zoom in on a 25,000-acre pocket of Florida swampland or a rising tech campus in California, and those public borders vanish. Within these specific zones, the standard rules of American municipality are suspended. Public zoning boards and elected officials are replaced by corporate-appointed boards, and public police departments are swapped for private security forces. This is not a hypothetical future. It is a present reality built on a historical legal loophole, a resurrection of a model that once allowed companies to control every aspect of a human life. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, industrializing America was dotted with thousands of company towns, like the coal patches of West Virginia. These were not merely worker housing projects. They were designed as self-contained ecosystems of financial and psychological control. The mechanism of this control was the trap of paying workers in corporate scrip. This scrip was worthless outside the company property. Because it could only be redeemed at company-owned grocery stores and medical facilities that inflated their prices, workers were forced into a generational cycle of debt. Total economic dominance allowed for the suppression of constitutional rights. In these towns, the First Amendment did not exist. If a worker spoke out or tried to organize a union, they didn't just lose their job. They were evicted from their home and blacklisted from the entire industry. If a worker refused to leave, corporations deployed their own private mercenary forces. Groups like the Pinkerton Detective Agency or the Baldwin-Felts Mercenaries physically assaulted or expelled dissenters from the land. The property line acted as a barrier to American civil liberties. While the federal government eventually stepped in to dismantle these early corporate fiefdoms, the legal architecture that allowed them to exist remained. It waited for a better PR strategy. In the mid-1960s, Walt Disney knew that building his city of the future required bypassing local counties and zoning boards. He used a network of dummy corporations to make secretive land purchases, quietly acquiring over 25,000 acres of undeveloped Florida swampland. This leverage led to the 1967 Reedy Creek Improvement District Act. The legislation granted Disney the legal authority to function as its own government. The corporation gained the power to build nuclear plants, override local building codes, and issue tax-exempt bonds, funding private infrastructure with public financing mechanisms. This chart shows how the district's governing board is selected. Traditional citizen elections are discarded in favor of land ownership voting. Because Disney owned the vast majority of the land, Disney chose the government. This provided the proof of concept. A private corporation could legally rewrite its own jurisdiction. Today, tech companies are taking this blueprint and applying it to the places where you live and work. Tech titans like Google and Meta are no longer just building office parks. They are acquiring thousands of acres of suburban land to build high-density micro-cities. What began as employee perks, like free cafeterias and private buses, has evolved into the direct corporate management of housing, transit, and retail hubs. The danger lies in the property rights. A public sidewalk is a place where citizens have a constitutional right to assemble. A corporate-owned sidewalk is private property, where security teams can remove anyone deemed a disruption to profitability. When one monopoly controls your lease, your grocery store, and your internet, the traditional line between citizen and employee dissolves. Your behavior is regulated not by a constitution, but by terms of service. This sovereignty requires enforcement. Across the United States, privatized corporate police forces now hold statutory arrest authority over vast corridors of infrastructure, medical complexes, and corporate land. Unlike public police, who are bound by the Freedom of Information Act and public records laws, these private forces operate behind a shield of corporate secrecy. Their disciplinary records and body camera footage are exempt from public requests. This creates a legal gray zone. When an individual enters a corporate municipality, they often sign away their rights through implicit. When a company controls the land and the badge, they possess the power to enforce corporate will over the individual without public oversight. The final stage of corporate sovereignty is the decoupling of wealth from the public ledger. This is achieved through autonomous tax districts that siphon public money into private hands. This shows ring fencing. Tax revenues generated inside the district are captured and used exclusively to upgrade utilities that benefit the corporation. While the corporation hoards this revenue, neighboring municipalities are left with depleted tax bases to handle the resulting traffic and infrastructure wear. The corporation effectively forces the public to subsidize its private capital expansion while contributing nothing back to the civic ecosystem. The ambitions of the corporate elite are now moving towards innovation zones and charter cities. These are proposed territories where traditional democratic voting is explicitly removed. In these zones, legislative power is distributed strictly by land ownership shares. If a corporation owns 80% of the land value, they possess 80% of the political power. We are seeing the monetization of democracy, where the right of citizenship is quietly replaced by the status of a corporate commodity.